Hi and happy Tuesday. I'm so excited for this Q&A. I have so many great questions lined up, and each one I'm like, there's always so many I want to answer. So if you have a question, email me or reply to this email, or if you're watching this somewhere else, let me know what questions you want me to answer. So today's question is on getting hyperfixated on things we've said socially. So the person wrote in and they said, they get hyperfixated on, did I say the wrong thing? Did I say the right thing? And it becomes really burdensome. And I love this question because it is definitely something that I can relate to, definitely a habit that I fell into. And I love that this question is being asked because to me, when it's asked, it's like, oh, wait, maybe this suffering can be trusted, that I'm not meant to suffer, that I don't need to hyperfixate and get stuck in that endless loop of rumination that feels burdensome and never ending and tiring and yuck. And yes, anytime we don't feel good, it is an invitation to come back to the present moment. But we're going to dive in deeper. So first, I think, is understanding, because understanding really changes everything. Understanding is when we can have insight. So first, we can understand how our brain works. So our brain is always narrating our experience, sharing its opinion. Also, our brain, especially, those lower parts of the brain, I think it's the amygdala, that lizard brain, it forms habits. So you can get into a habit of, after a social event, hyperfixating. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I say the right thing? What did I say? How did they respond? Did that joke go over well? Did I talk about myself? But the lizard brain is very innocent. So after a social event, it's like, okay, yay, here's our habit. Let's get into it. Let's hyperfixate. Let's focus. What do we do right? What do we do wrong? How do we go over? Do they still like us? It's not really realizing this sucks and I'm causing you pain. It just is a habit. The great thing though about habits is that we are built to change habits. We are built for change as human beings. We are just our transformation's already written in us. The moment we kind of see through them, wait, this isn't necessary. It's that's a huge part of it. The moment we can see that we are feeling our thinking, we are not feeling reality, we are not feeling our circumstance. Say, for example, if we're going over a social event, did I say the wrong thing? Did I say the right thing? How did it go over? And we start feeling anxious, or we start feeling scared and embarrassed, whether it was a work thing or a family thing, we start not feeling good. All that is an indication of what train of thought we're on, and that train of thought is not headed anywhere good. It is not telling us about our reality, about our circumstances, about anything. But that feedback can be trusted, because the moment we realize, oh wait, I'm feeling my thinking, I did that side, then we naturally can come back to the present moment. Just as if we're in the sun for too long, we start feeling overheated, feeling thirsty. There's a natural tendency to move towards the shade. You don't even need to think about it. That moment that you can see without judgment, oh my gosh, I'm hyperfixating. Nothing for me to solve. I'm not really feeling any truth. Oh, and you are free. We are free thinkers. That's what's so exciting. We are free to think and think and think and think. To ruminate all we want, to think anything, to believe any stories our brain tells us, and they are just stories. And then we're also free to come back to the present moment. And what's exciting about that, and also this deep understanding of how thought works, is thoughts just coming and going. We are one thought away from a whole new experience. So if you're sitting there or lying there in bed, which is often when I would find myself ruminating, you're sitting there in the moment you can realize, the natural tendency to come back to the present. And then your thoughts can begin flowing again. You can have a whole, a new thought, and then a new feeling. And so you actually don't even have to work on, how do I let that go though? How do I not hyperfixate? You're designed that way. When we're not either resisting our thoughts or we're not giving them a lot of attention and information, they just flow. That's how thoughts work. That was huge for me. That was so exciting. And then also when we let them flow, if we are a little bit stuck on there, that can allow helpful information. I do this our wisdom to come through, because wisdom always comes wrapped in a positive feeling. And I remember doing a post on eat this after Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is and was important to me. I want to, and with all the people that I love so much. And I remember after Thanksgiving kind of mentally playing that back. Was everybody having a good time? Did I talk to everybody? I think it was maybe my partner's first time at our Thanksgiving, so I had some thinking about it. And then I was like, sometimes my tendency can be to talk about myself, or that's also a story that I tell. But often after a social event, I'll say, did I make sure to really listen? And I kind of also hold myself to the standard of like, you shouldn't make any story about you, or just really, I want to make it so it's fair and I'm listening and I'm talking to people equally. So yeah, sure, I can sometimes still fall into that review. But I made this video and I remember somebody wrote back and said, if you're kind, that's all that matters. And like, it really hit me. And I'm not saying this is a technique for you to use, but I was like, oh, I am kind. Okay. Sometimes I might talk about myself, and who knows, maybe my brain might blow that up, and maybe also people might like it. Like, oh my God, and I relate to that. But I also know I am kind. I am a good listener. I am curious. I am aware. I want people to feel connected and I want to feel good. But like, when I notice that if I ever get stuck in reviewing, oh, did I say the wrong thing? And sometimes I'll do that after like a games night with my partner's kids when we're all together. I still find myself reviewing. But the moment I have that recognition, I'm like, oh, and I come back to the present moment. And then what pops up is, you're kind. And I know that might be like, oh, but like for me, it's like, yeah, I'm showing up loving and kind, and I don't have to be perfect. I also think on that note, we are so much more allowing of our friends and our family. Like, nobody has to always say the right thing. Sometimes our friends might be quieter, or our family. Sometimes they might inadvertently hurt our feelings. Sometimes they might make an off-color joke. Sometimes they might not know something. Like, I know I'm really forgiving, and I know that my friends and family are forgiving, because the proof is in the pudding too. For so many times that I'd ruminate. And sometimes I would text, oh my God, I'm so sorry if I talked about myself. They'd be like, what are you talking about? It was great. Sigh, because I'm talking fast. When I get present, what comes to me is helpful information. It's kind of fresh. When we can get out of that hyperfixating. That's kind of old news, stinking thinking, just going over and over, not really feeling good. And the moment we can be like, oh, we are free, we come back to the present. Either it's totally new thoughts, we just realize, like, without even doing it, we're just on to new things. Ooh, what am I going to do tomorrow? Whatever it is. What movie am I going to watch tonight? Or it's just this insight. You've done this all the time, and everybody at work always likes you. You've done this, you always do this, and you don't need to. And there's such freedom knowing we are one thought away, that we do not have to do anything to have new thoughts and new feelings and a whole new experience. So I hope this weekly Q&A was helpful. Let me know what other questions you have.